guys, what's your worst morning wood story? NSW. Went on a lad's holiday to Ibiza. Fell asleep alone in my single bed. Woke up to my mate spooning me. Full on morning wood trying to escape his boxer prison. 10-10 would stay there again. Accidentally gay. I was sleeping at my girlfriend's place and she had left for work. Her dad came in to wake me up because I had parked my car on the wrong side of the street. It was during the summer and I was completely naked and hard. Needless to say, it was super awkward, but he saved me from a ticket. 16. Woke up after being out cold for about 20 hours after a minor surgery to correct an issue with my left hand after I stupidly punched a wall. I had gotten hard, probably about 4-6 hours into this nap. Due to a defect with my foreskin, I was prone to paraphymesis. My dong had been swollen, hard, and unable to soften for at least 10 hours, with what amounted to an elastic band wrapped just under the head. The foreskin that was too tight to naturally fall back over the glands, and had to manually put back in place, with lubricant used because it was simply too tight to do so like a normal foreskin. So I woke up with an eggplant colored dong that felt like it was being pissed with billions or maybe trillions of white hot sewing needles. I think we have a winner. Was on a camping trip, was 15 at the time, and woke up in the middle of the night hard as anything. The other two guys in the tent were asleep, so I cranked one out and went back to sleep. Thought I'd gotten away with it until one of the guys made a joke about it like a month later. Didn't live it down for quite a while. Why the heck didn't I leave the tent? I was 13ish and at my aunt's house, sleeping on the couch in the living room. Luckily, I sleep on my side, and the evidence was facing the back of the couch. Unluckily, my mother noticed me wake up. She kept saying, "It's time to get up. We're about to eat breakfast." Eventually I had no choice but to get up, in front of my whole extended family, with a massive tent and my PJs, and run to the bathroom. I'm sure your dad understood at least. Mum confused and mad. Burnt the end of my morning woodpecker, naked and hungover, wandering aimlessly into kitchen for coffee, reached up into cupboard, frick, tip touched side of kettle. That must be a high cupboard. All I know is I'm 30 and I'm rock hard every morning of my life. I was told this would stop by my age, or at least not every day. 65, still. I used to frequently stay at my best friend's house when I was 16/17, and we used to sleep in his bed because am I frick sleeping on a wood floor or his tiny uncomfortable couch? We're both straight. BTW. I wake one morning and I feel something rock solid and warm resting against my back. We're both wearing underwear, so not too bad, but still weird. Mark, is that your fricking boner? No answer. He's still asleep. Mark, is that your boner? He wakes with a slight jolt, looks down and says aye. He rolls over and goes back to sleep. Frickin' Mark. I interrupted a burglar early in the morning a few years ago. I thought it was my toddler son getting up to wreck crap, but it turns out it was a 6'4" junkie with a knife. I was naked and sporting morning wood. I've never seen a man look so terrified in my life. I was pretty scared too. And good. Was in the afternoon, but I fell asleep during my lunch break somehow and was woken up by one of my male co-workers coming in and starting to laugh hysterically. Wake up, feel a heck of a lot of pressure down under and notice I've pitched my tent. Just got up and went back to work. Zero fricks. We were traveling for a high school competition, and we had to share beds at the hotel we were staying at. In the morning when my friend's phone alarm went off, he went to reach for his phone, which was between us, and instead grabbed my banana phone. The screams from the two of us were effective in waking everyone up though. LOL. Banana phone. Summer after high school, stayed over at my female friend's house and we stayed up late marathoning movies, so I slept on the couch. Her and her sister decided to wake me up the next morning by sitting on me. My friend plopped down on my chest and knocked the wind out of me. Her sister plopped down a little lower and got a surprise. Woke up pinned, breathless, really needing to pee. But man, the look on her sister's face was priceless. And that, kids, is how I met your mother. After partying with my girlfriend and her best friend, we all ended up in our bed. Non-sexual. We were just drunk and fell asleep there. Me on my side, my girlfriend on hers and her best friend between us. because that's where you land when you jump into a bed. Well, the morning after was a wait. That's not my girlfriend. Ah yeah, there was something yesterday. Oh dang. Nobody noticed, but there's a certain kind of panic you have to endure, rocking a full mast next to another girl right next to your girlfriend. Also, now I have the reputation of having a hard time getting out of bed. Definitely no pun intended, because I refuse to get up. There's worse I guess. Sounds like a hard time. I recently had keyhole heart surgery which was inserted around the groin area. Next morning, a nurse needs to check how the incisions were healing but little known is wide awake. I was honest and said you really should come back a little later. The look on her face was something along the lines of I don't get paid enough for this crap and thank God he gave me a warning. Talk about missed opportunity. You should have P music ready on your phone and started it the moment she saw the boner. I slept naked one time and one time only. Everyone told me how great it was so I decided to go through with it. Well, I made the mistake of forgetting to lock my door and my mom walked in the next morning to wake me up only to see my flag at full mast. The worst part is that happened to be a night where I had a wet dream. Imagine walking in on your 15-year-old son sporting a rock hard boner while being covered in his own jizz. Had I broken my arms that might have been a different story but it just ended with a very embarrassed red face and awkward silence between me and my mom for a couple hours. So back when I was a freshman in high school 2 of my friends slept over and played Halo 2 on my parents' big screen in the living room. The next morning my mom went into the living to watch TV and I still had my Xbox set up with the TV on the wrong input. My mom barged in my room with my friends and I all passed out and asked me to fix the TV and I told her I'd be there in a moment. And she said now. Then I said I can't and she asked why and I yelled because I have morning wood. I honestly don't remember her or my friend's response but one of friends wandered in there and tried to fix it until my boner went away enough for me to walk in there. My friends and I still love to tell that story. Oh wow, that's golden. While in the army, your feet is to hit the floor when the barracks supervisor enters the room in the morning, otherwise you'll get a fine. I overslept one morning and woke up to the door opening, so naturally I shoot out on the floor. She got a salute she was not prepared for, not a tent. It slipped through the P-flap that boxer shorts come with. At least you were boots on deck in time. So one day when I was about 16 I was staying at my cousin's and one of them decided it would be a great idea if all 4 of us, me and my male cousin, and 2 females, slept together on my aunt's trampoline. So we bring out some comforters and pillows and start to settle down for the night and end up as me, attractive female cousin, male cousin, and other female cousin. To make matters worse, I was wearing some loose flannel PJs and because all of us were fairly close, the trampoline was sagging in the center making us all bunch up close, and my cousin kept shifting with her butt against my junk. Yes, I tried rolling over but it wasn't nearly as comfortable almost rolling on top of someone. This alone took all the willpower teenage virgin me could muster to not get hard. So I wake up right before the sun comes up and all that willpower had abandoned me in my sleep causing me to wake up with the most powerful erection in recent memory. While it was pressed against her I made the attempt to tuck it between my legs and pretend I was asleep, but not before I hear her say "Broseph, did something wake you up?" to which I denied and she just shrugged and wiggled around more to get comfortable before going back to sleep. I laid there for what seemed like forever to make the tree settle itself and she's never brought it up or said anything the next day, and things haven't been weird, so I'm not sure if she ever realized it. Roll Tide. Back in 10th grade I rode a school bus for 2H every morning and afternoon to and from school. Nearly every morning when I have to get off the bus to school, I would do the hunched over walk of shame in a half-conscious state. Backpack to the front bro, rookie mistake. Not really morning wood per se, but I thought this might fit. I had a friend sleeping over at my house when I was about 17. We slept in the same bed because we were bros and that didn't bother us. Well, I had this girlfriend at the time, who was later my first, and I had a particularly vivid sex dream about her. It was so real I could feel everything. Being a virgin in and out of the dream, I thought this was going to be my first time. She was naked and wet. I went in for about 2 to 3 pumps and still remember the sensation of busting what I thought was my first real nut. Well, I really did bust in real life and it woke me up. I continued jizzing in my pants, and it was a lot. Very aware now that my friend was right next to me, passed out. When it was done flowing, I had to climb over him, pants stuck to my pelvis, to get out of the bed. I cleaned up and changed as quick as I could and stayed out in the living room. He woke up some time later and had no idea what transpired right next to him. I still have never told him or anyone to this day, except Reddit now. Had a girlfriend in college who liked to get down first thing in the morning. I was never really into it. BC I was usually hungover, had nasty breath, needed to pee, and lasted about 2 minutes due to getting hard on and off all night. Woke up on 3 different occasions to her climbing on top of me and slipping me in. 20 years later, and I would be thrilled if my wife took the initiative, but back then it felt kind of non-consensual. Like geez, let me at least pee and brush my teeth first. When Folgers shoves that goddamn cup of coffee down your throat whether you like it or not. Fell asleep once and started having crazy sex dreams. Gradually woke up and slowly realized my wife, girlfriend at the time, was going to town on the wee fella. It's a great memory because I don't get BJs anymore. RIP BJs. Got drunk with a straight male friend in high school, slept on his bed, with him next to me. His dad wakes me up and I have a massive boner. I know I am hard but IDK if the dad saw LOL it went down pretty quick from being so scared. And he drives me home, never went to their house again LOL. Bet he had a nice chat with his son when he got back. I was visiting family in Asia. My makeshift bed was set up smack dab in the middle of living room. It was the middle of the summer, and I was sleeping with no blankets and in my boxers. I wake up to a good portion of my extended family sitting around me sipping tea while my soldiers stood at attention. One of my aunts commented, "At least he'll make a woman happy someday." I wasn't sure whether to kill myself or everyone in that room to prevent gossip. At least your aunt approves. Woke up on a tour bus with my high school band on our way to Disney World. We pulled into Dennis to grab some food. Major morning wood. So I pulled the 3-point tuck and pinned that bad boy straight upwards between the waist of my pants and my stomach. Finally get inside and was still half asleep and went for the untuck without considering the fact that I was walking through the middle of the restaurant. Saw the faces of 2 adults change drastically as I lifted my shirt and put my flaccid dong back down in my pants. I was at a 6-week geology field camp, a summer class. At the time, I had a minor crush on a girl in camp named Christy. I was sharing a 3-man tent with my friends Adam and Dan. One morning, we were getting out of our sleeping bags and we were about to be late, so Dan and Adam scrambled out while I mentioned I needed to wait for some morning wood to die down. They laughed it off and walked out. I stayed in my sleeping bag. A moment later, through the tent wall, I hear the teacher about 30 feet away say, "Where's in sand trap?" and I hear Adam casually say, "Morning wood. He'll be out in a moment." Lots of laughter, including Christy. A couple minutes later I emerge and do the walk of shame. Capital F. The apartment building I lived in during college had really crappy air conditioners. Mine broke down during a particularly hellish heat and I bought a bunch of fans to try and keep things cool. One night, it was so hot that I had multiple fans around my bed so I wouldn't burn up while sleeping. One in particular, an old crappy one I'd bought from Public Safety that was without a protector around the blades, was right next to my bed, and I mean it was touching the sheets. So I wake up the next morning, tired, groggy and standing at full mast. I roll over, still fully erect, and boom, dong into the fan. All of the family jewels survived, only enduring a few nasty scratches, but it was nonetheless a horrible wake-up call. The original instructions unclear, dong stuck in fan. Fiancé's friend stayed the night. We all used to work together but her and my fiancé were at a different job together, and I moved on as well. She stayed over Friday night, and the old job had me at work at 7 AM Saturday. New job has weekends off. Fiancé's friend takes a shower and walks into the bedroom to change. Bathroom gets really steamy, so she wanted to actually be dry and not damp. She walks in, tosses the towel and turns a corner butt naked to me, also naked with my morning wood, and we both kind of go oh crap. Fiancé comes into her future husband naked, rocking a hard-on with her best friend, also naked. I'm very glad she laughed first, because it was awkward. And no, nothing cool came out of it other than her naked friend and her giant boobs. This isn't my story, but I read it here on a medical issues thread and it might be the worst thing I've ever heard. Apparently, this guy came into the hospital with severe genital pain. He told the staff, when questioned how he got this way, that when he woke up with morning wood, he would mimes putting one hand on top the other, then making a motion like snapping a branch in half. He said that he had been doing this for years and this was the first time it kept hurting after the first few seconds. His penis was described as looking like a gnarled root. Top that, Reddit. Freaking heck. Always awkward and super uncomfortable for me when my 3-year-old jumps in my bed and tries to climb all over me some mornings. I had to get surgery to remove kidney stones and they left a stent in my pee hole taped to the base of my rig. I woke up after the second night in excruciating pain with my pole bent like it had a shark on the line due to my morning wood, a cold cloth and some time and it went down. Peeing with morning wood, holding penis downward with thumb. Thumb slipped, penis sprung upwards and I pee all over the ceiling and walls. Oh dude, peeing with a boner is terrifying. Who knows where it's going, just pray for the best. Was about 15. Staying at my buddy's summer house with his family. I slept on the couch in the living room and was lounging in bed in the AM when my friend's little sister, probably 5 or 6 at the time, runs into the room with her mother in tow. In mere seconds, the girl ran to the couch, grabbed the cover, and ripped it away before her poor mother could yell no. Thankfully, I was wearing undies, so the girl was oblivious, but man was that an uncomfortable atmosphere during breakfast. I know a guy who was sleeping on the couch at his girlfriend's place one night. Through the course of the night he lost his clothes and eventually slept naked. Apparently he does this regularly at his own place. Next morning he woke up to find his girlfriend's grandmother sitting on the couch opposite him watching TV and pretending nothing's wrong. Not actually morning, but upon waking one afternoon post all-nighter and most of morning work period in the military, the battalion commander and sergeant major were making round in the barracks. Out of that bed, I popped up and was standing at attention in my skivvies, ×2. I never had a wet dream, ever, until age 31. Had a dream about autofellatio and somehow that is what I needed to subconsciously blow a load in my PJS. I don't fantasize about it or attempt it, that's just the dream I had. I woke up immediately, as did the girl I was dating at the time. We had a good laugh and went back to sleep. I feel kinda scared asking, but what's autofellatio? It was back in college. I was sharing this 2-bedroom apartment near campus with another guy. He was a pretty chill dude, studied a lot and didn't party a whole lot. But when he did he was pretty lightweight. One Friday night some of the other bros came over and passed a joint around at one point. I just took a single puff because that stuff makes me go to sleep really fast. Roomie takes more than a couple and then drinks a beer on top of that, and he is pretty trashed really quickly. The other guys take off after a while. Now I am already feeling the effects of the hit so I decided to crash. It was late spring and pretty hot so I just stripped naked and climbed into bed. Sometime way early in the morning I kind of half wake up to things. One is that my morning wood is super hard. Then I feel this kind of wet sensation on the end of it. I groggily open my eyes and to my shock I see my roomie sitting next to the bed. He was very lightly holding the end of my dong in his fingertips while he was kissing and licking the head of it. Naturally I freak out since I am straight and up until that moment I thought the roomie was too. I said something like hey WTF, dude looked so scared at that point. He bolted straight out of the room. So finally I put on some pajama bottoms and a t-shirt and stumble out into the kitchen so I can deal with what just happened. Roomie is making coffee and when he sees me he looks really sheepish and immediately starts apologizing and saying that he is still kind of fricked up from the night before and didn't know what he doing. He said he smoked some more after I went to sleep and then he went into my room and saw my hardness and for some reason just wanted to see what it would feel like to have it near his lips and he didn't think I would wake up because I am usually dead to the world when I sleep after partying. So I am standing there listening to all this and I am starting to respond that none of what he said made any of this cool. when my roommate started giggling and laughing uncontrollably. I asked what the frick was so funny and he started pointing at me as he could not stop laughing long enough to talk. I looked down and noticed there was a tent in my pajamas. My morning wood was still there. Dude, that's fricked up. That's assault. I've never been so high I would even come close to doing some crap like that. It was a sleepover night at my cousin's place. I'm the only youngest one, 22, among my cousins, mid-30s 40s. We partied hard all night long, probably the last party with my family. Oops, and we all slept on the floor. IDKY, so don't bother asking. I wake up early to take a leak and I see all my cousins had a strong morning wood pointing upwards. So I take some sheets and cover everybody and then go by my business. MVP here. Lived by myself in a 2-bedroom apartment and decided to put my bed in the living room because I do what I want. One morning my apartment manager and maintenance are trying to get in because the neighbor above overflowed their bathtub. I wake up and realize someone's been knocking. I hop up and reach for the door just as I realize I'm sporting an erection and that the manager has unlocked and is now entering the apartment. So there she is with the maintenance guy and there I am in my boxers with a woody. I thankfully don't have one yet. I always make sure that if I wake up with morning wood, I either wait in bed till it goes away or wait till the coast is clear for me to run over to the bathroom. Not morning wood but inappropriate spontaneous chubby. I promised to take my daughter swimming last year. I went to my ex's house to pick her up. While there I changed in the bathroom. Not sure what happened but in the process of changing my inner 13-year-old took over and bam. I ended up pitching a tent in my swim trunks just as I walked out. Fortunately, only my ex noticed. I'm late but here it goes. My girlfriend's friend was over one night and she was hanging out with us. I was super tired from work and my girlfriend was gonna take her friend back to her house. When they left, I decided to go upstairs to bed. Little to my knowledge, my girlfriend had decided her friend to stay the night with us. Now we're all super close and she tends to crash here a lot so that was nothing new. Thing is I was asleep already when they had gotten back. I guess I had passed out in the middle of our bed and I'm a really heavy sleeper. So my girlfriend fell asleep on the left side of me, as she usually does, and our friend passed out on the right of me. When I woke up that morning, my eyes weren't open yet and I was still half asleep. I'm full on pitching a tent right now, and I still didn't know our friend had slept at our house, let alone in our bed. I felt long hair next to me, assuming it was my girlfriend's hair, because nobody else sleeps with us. I roll over with a rock hard bulge in just my underwear and I started spooning her. My girlfriend has brunette hair and our friend has blonde hair, so I opened my eyes inching closer against her and saw blonde and had a heart attack. I flipped around and started spooning my girlfriend. When I told them about it later that day, I was super uncomfortable about almost boning our best friend but they found it hilarious. Went to bed super drunk, and yup, spludged myself. The alcohol, dehydration, and spludge gives me mad burning in my urinary tract. I woke up mysteriously at 5 AM with morning wood, unbelievable pain, and serious confusion as to what the frick just happened. Flying to the Dominican Republic a few years back, had a long layover, arrived at around 4 AM, fell asleep waiting for my connecting flight, woke up to some people staring and giggling, had some serious morning wood at the airport lol. Woke up one morning in the dead of winter, needed to start a fire, problem was I had no wood ready to go, so I had to go outside and split some logs. I hate morning wood. Fell asleep on the train going to work. Woke up as train was pulling into the station and noticed I had an erection straining my trousers. The lady sitting next to me smiled and glanced down at my hard-on and said must have been a good dream. I guess it must have been but I had no memory of it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.